Hello, everybody. Well, the situation in Hong Kong, unfortunately, is getting worse. Last time I mentioned about, China want to, so to say, skip the Parliament of Hong Kong, the so-called Legislative Council. So they make a new law in Beijing for Hong Kong. It's terrible. So if they really do it, this is the end of what they promised, one country, two systems. They want to kill Hong Kong freedom, Hong Kong rule of law, and Hong Kong democracy. That's what the Communist Party want to do. Okay. So now, what happened is right now, is going on in another thing, and they want to push through another law, even if that law is not so big, but it also says something. The so-called national anthem law. That means people in Hong Kong, they are not supposed to insult the national anthem. And the reason they try to push through this law is because last year, you know that there was a lot of protests in Hong Kong. And then in a university, when they had a kind of, graduation ceremony, so according to law, or according to the ceremony process, they always start the whole thing with the Chinese national anthem. And what happened is almost all students turn themselves around with the back towards the stage. And many of them actually walk away. And some of them, they actually make other noises. And, so that people couldn't even hear the so-called national anthem. And, well, for me, it's quite natural. I mean, Hong Kong has been enjoying rule of law and freedom for 100 years, yeah? And now the Chinese Communist Party suddenly is pushing them to accept a so-called national anthem. And this national anthem, and if you understand Chinese, the text is terrible. It's telling you, let's use our flesh and blood to build a new Chinese Great Wall and fight against our enemy and all this terrible thing. And so I can understand that the Chinese student and also Chinese people, they don't want to sing it. They don't even want to hear it. Yeah, because this national anthem for them is a symbol of the Chinese Communist Party. So, and the Chinese Communist Party are sending, or have sent already a year ago, 4,000 Chinese policemen, Chinese police officers to Hong Kong to control the Hong Kong police so that they, have to behave really brutal and cruel, otherwise you get fired. And so how can they accept such a so-called national anthem? They don't identify with the Communist Party, that's all. So now they want to push through a new law saying that if you insult the national anthem, you will get punished up to 3 years in jail. 3 years in jail. And they tried to pass it through in the Legislative Council, so it was again protest, and police crashed again with the protester. They actually, what the police did is they came to the Legislative Council hours before the protester came. So they were first surrounded the Legislative Council and make sure that no protester can come close to the council. And the protester went somewhere else to make a demo, and then the police beat them again brutally. So, my dear friends, to stand with Hong Kong is not just to save life of Hong Kong people. To stand with Hong Kong is in the same time, it means to stay with rule by law, to stay with freedom, to stay with democracy. So that's why it is important for all of us to stand with Hong Kong, because China, under the rule of the Communist Party, is a world power. Their influence is not limited to Hong Kong, and also not limited to Taiwan, and also not limited to Asian neighbors, and not only limited to the Asian continent. Their influence is global. So when they think they are strong enough they will stop smiling to you, and instead they will show their guns. Yeah? So that is what they are doing in Hong Kong. They were smiling to Hong Kong 22 years ago, yeah, because at that time they think it's good to smile to Hong Kong people. Otherwise, they cannot get all the advantage of a financial center, a third biggest financial center in the world. And by the way, President Donald Trump has already declared that American government will do something about it if they push through this law. And actually, he said that within this week, he will announce, or American government will announce something significant. He didn't disclose what they will announce. It can be that they will put into force the Hong Kong Democracy and Human Rights Act, which means they can take away the privilege, the so-called favorable status of Hong Kong, so that Hong Kong have to be treated as mainland China, pay all the tariff and no import of high-tech and so on and so on. Yeah? So that will come. Anyway, the game is ongoing. Now, something may be positive. Yeah? It has also to do with the ever increasing influence of the Chinese Communist Party in the world. And that is parallel to their project of One Belt, One Road, where they try to control the global infrastructure. They also try to control the global information infrastructure. That is the 5G network. And you know that because Huawei can offer a very cheap solution, and they do function, yeah, in most cases at least. So many European countries are hesitate to ban Huawei, although U.S. government make it very clear, if you use Huawei, we are not going to share with you intelligence information. So, and unfortunately, all the major countries in Europe, like UK, Germany, France, they all make a compromise. They say, oh, we are not going to allow Huawei in the sensitive part of our network, but the more non-sensitive part is fine. And UK said up to 35% maximum, yeah, while Huawei. And from the security point of view, I understand also a little bit of telecommunication. This won't help. It's still not safe. Yeah? Only that it will be not as easy as if Huawei could also install the equipment in the sensitive part. That would make it very easy for them to access all information in the West or in Europe. And now with that solution, they can still do it. Only take a little bit more effort. But the good news is, according to the Daily Telegraph and also BBC, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of UK, has already ordered his people to make a plan to get rid of Huawei. And the target is, at latest end of 2023, in the UK's 5G network, there should be zero Huawei. So his people, his technical expert, got a job to work out a plan, step by step, to reduce Huawei, which is understandable, because if you throw them all, maybe you get too much disturbance in your communication. But step by step, and within basically 2 years or so, to get rid of Huawei totally. This is a fantastic turnaround, so to say. And I do hope that a big country like Germany, France, and so on in Europe should also reconsider their earlier decision, because in Germany it's similar. For example, no Huawei in sensitive part, but okay on the other part, and they have to reconsider that. So this is a positive change, and that I think is a positive effect through the coronavirus or the CCP virus. You know, Boris Johnson, he himself got infected. So probably when he was lying in the hospital, he started to understand how evil the Chinese Communist Party is. So he rethink, and I hope other European leaders should also consider the same. So thank you for today. And by the way, for those who may not know, if you have friends who would prefer to listen to my video in German or in Chinese, There are a German and a Chinese YouTube channel also. So don't forget, if you like the whole thing, click like and click subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thank you for listening and watching. Thank you. Bye-bye.